Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Hospitality MD. I'm your host, Kyle, and today I have the great pleasure of sitting down with Sylvain from the Hyatt Regency Suites in Atlanta Northwest. Thank you so much for taking your time to sit down with us today.
Thank you, Carlo, for having me on your show. Actually, I am more honored about this invitation.
Oh, well, it's absolutely my pleasure. And I was intrigued and fascinated when I stumbled across your LinkedIn post, which to date has, I believe, 1,800, almost 1,800 reactions and almost 125 comments regarding your career growth and in the hotel industry, as well as your kind of coming of age as somebody living here in the United States of America. So you are currently the assistant general manager as of how long ago?
As of Monday, which is December 16, I got promoted within my organization as the assistant general manager of the hotel.
That is very, very, very awesome. Congratulations, Sylvian. That is great news, my friend. So, how did it feel the moment that they told you you were going to become the new assistant general manager?
Yes, when they asked me, actually deposit the position in our website, and then I was so happy when I saw that post. And then before I even applied, I used to work at this property in 2004 as the banquet houseman. So I was just setting up rooms, and I was just doing stuff in the back of the house. And then I moved my way up all the way to food and beverage manager. I mean, I went to supervisor, food and beverage manager, and then I went to Raleigh as a food and beverage director, where I stayed over there for 1 year, and I was under the care of the GM. His name is Sachin, so a very good friend of mine. And then I stayed there for 1 year, and then our property opened a combo hotel in Greenville, South Carolina. It's a brand new, beautiful hotel. Is the Regency Inn and a Spring Suite, and then inside of that hotel they have a heavy food and beverage operation. So they asked me if I could come and open the property, and I was very excited that they would even offer me to come and be the opening food and beverage director. So did a great job over there for 1 year, and then my team that I left in Atlanta saw my progression, and they were so happy. And then when they posted the position as an assistant general manager, most of them reached out to me and say, "Hey, Sylvain, we had this great position, and we think that we would love to have you back because of your spirit and your attitude." And then I applied, and the vice president of the operations sat me for an interview, and she told me that the whole team is very excited to even know that I'm considering moving back to Atlanta. So when she offered me the job, and I was just so happy because I'm coming back home, because I see that as my home hotel in the United States. So this is where I started. This is where I fell in love with the hospitality industry. So I was just so excited to know that I'm coming back as an assistant general manager. And then the cool thing is, when I got here, I was welcomed by the whole team, and it feels so great to be here.
That is incredible. That you're going home to the first property that you worked at in the United States of America,
Yeah.
and kind of just to reference your LinkedIn post, you had mentioned that you had started out and you were barely even able to hold a conversation with another person in English,
Yes.
and now here you are, coming back 15 years later as the assistant general manager leading the entire operation and financial success of that hotel. And you're also sitting down with us and we're having a great conversation in English today. So I think we've come a long way since then.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I, I even remember sometimes even getting on the bus and someone, and then I will wear a watch and someone will ask me, what time is it? And then as soon as I open my mouth, they know that I'm from a different country, and then they want to have a conversation, and then I couldn't. So then I used to walk. So now after that, I mean, after that first incident, I was on the bus and one other person asked me for the time, and then I just showed him, and I couldn't speak because I mean I just couldn't hold a conversation. And then when I got here, they interviewed me, and I could barely put together some words, even though I could read a little bit. I mean, but speaking, it was just so difficult. And then they told me that as a banquet husband, as long as I can read the banquet event order and they can show me a few things, and then I don't have to communicate with the guests because I will come at 4 p.m. when all the events are gone, and then I will clean the room and set the banquet and then set the event for the next day. And then by the time the guests came, I was out. And then from time to time, we had to contact people who came into the room and they started asking me questions, and I couldn't speak. And I remember my manager back then, his name was Donald Berger, and I called him and said, "So you guys are going to talk to these guys because I have no idea what they are talking about." And then I got a little bit frustrated that I could not speak English, and then I decided to put my mind into it, and then went into the library and took some classes. I mean, I took some tapes, and I think it was 6 months tape, and then I did everything in 3 weeks. And I remember the librarian, and when I went and told him that I'm sorry, I'm done with the program. Do you have any more program? And then he was like, "You are done with the 6 month program." I said, "I'm done." And then he could see a big difference between the first time that I came to get the tapes and then 3 weeks later. And then I just put it in my mind to it, have some great American friends. And then I remember having a bartender here. His name was David, and then he had this southern accent. I just couldn't understand him. And then I would run away from him. But little by little, put my mind into learning English, trying to understand the people from the South. And I think that when you understand people from the South, they speak a lot faster. And as soon as I could understand David, I'm like, I got it. Nah, I got
I like how that's the standard. If you can understand people from the South, you can understand everybody who's speaking English.
That's true. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I don't know which part of the country you're from, but I can understand you perfectly.
We are up here in Chicago, Illinois. Uh,
Ah, okay.
so we're Midwest people. And I'm glad to know that you can understand me fine. I guess we have a nice Midwest accent. Do you think that I have an accent?
Actually, if I would compare you from someone from the South, I would say yes that you have a different accent than the people from the South. But if you have an accent, so it threw it throws me off a lot. I mean, a little bit here when the people say this person has an accent, this person has an accent, and I'm like, you all speak like American people. I don't understand how do you know this person has an accent, but I know that people from the South just speak very fast. I mean, I can understand people who are in a for me, people who has an accent are people in the countryside, and then they speak very fast, and then they have this funny accent. So this is where I know that they have an accent. But if you're not from the countryside and you speak normally, I don't think that you have an accent.
Okay, well that's good to know. Now,
Okay.
so where exactly are you from, sir?
I am originally from Cameroon. Cameroon is in Central Africa, on the west coast of Africa. And then, I mean, I was born and raised over there. And then I grew up in Yaoundé. Yaoundé is the capital of Cameroon. So yes, I mean, yes, this is where I'm from. Yes, and then sometimes I like to make fun of people and say that I'm from the country of Eddie Murphy. Because if you watch the movie Trading Places, when Eddie Murphy said, "My name is Nangeboko, I'm from Cameroon," so I think
That's
joke
really funny, man.
that I'm from the country of Eddie Murphy.
So, did you work in hotels in Cameroon, or is your first hotel job when you came to the United States?
Actually, my first hotel job was here in the United States. In Cameroon, I was just a full-time student, and I studied law in Cameroon. Had my degree in public law, and then when I came to the United States, I just fell in love with hospitality. You know, I started here because I just wanted something to do to earn a few bucks. And then the longer I stayed in the hospitality business, the longer I just started liking it. And then when I could speak English now, I was like, man, I just love this place because the banquet was different. You see, you have a different banquet event, you have a different setup. And then I was like, this is not a boring job. And then the more I met people. And when I became even a server and a bartender, and then I met people from all over the United States, and I felt like I was traveling through these guests who were in front of me because I could meet people from New York, people from Washington, people from, people from Chicago, people from Florida. So I felt like I was traveling with these guests, and then I like the fact that I could meet the different people just through hospitality, and this is where I decided to stay.
And do you have a recollection of the moment that you knew that hospitality was going to be something that you continue to do? Like a single moment or story that you have?
Yes, I remember, and then is I was a banquet houseman, and then I was tired of lifting the tables, and then I went to HR because they had the security position open at night. And then I went and then I told her, I'm sorry, I would like to change. I would like to move to security. And then she called me in her office and she told me, Sylvain, when I look at you, you don't look like a mean person. You look like someone who can give a good customer service. And then she said that if we put you into security, sometimes we will ask you to be a little bit tough and harsh on some guests who don't want to listen because. And then he said, and then she said, I will ask you if you can just stay in a banquet and become a server and keep building your customer service skills. And I didn't like it because I felt like she just turned me down, and then I kept working. But
Mhm.
now I am so grateful to her because I would have been maybe a director of security somewhere. But I think that I love being involved with talking with the guests than being in the security. Instead of being a security officer. So after we had that conversation, and then a few months later, so this is when I knew that if someone else can see me as a great customer service representative, then I would put my time and then build my career in this hospitality business. So I think that is from that conversation with the HR.
That's I think that HR person sounds like a very, very talented human resources professional. She was able to see, 15 years into the future, um, and
Well,
kind of see maybe what you're, almost see you now in your current role, because if you had been security, like you said, your path would have looked much different had you even, maybe you wouldn't have even continued in hospitality. So I think, it's great that you have that respect for her and that she was able to impact your life in that way. Now, one thing that you said that I found interesting was in Cameroon, you had your degree in public law, and uh, uh, you went from being somebody who was uh, I guess in your country considered to be very well educated, public law, lawyer in your country, to coming here to America, and then somebody asks you for the time and you can't even respond back to them. How did that make you feel as a person to go from somebody who was very, very well respected in your country to being somebody who was dragging tables around a ballroom, not able to speak English? Did that take an effect on you at all, sir?
Actually, this is a great question, and many times I remember sitting in my apartment and thinking, if I stayed home, maybe I would have been a good lawyer here, or then I'm here and lifting tables, and I don't even know where my path is going. And yes, I almost so felt like I was failing until I started to watching some shows on TV, and then I saw people who came from from nothing to from nothing to great people in this country. And then I was like, you know what, a little bit at the time I would get there, and then I decided to embrace the culture, and then I had that thing. Back home, if you start as a banquet houseman and you become an assistant GM, and soon maybe to be GM, is something that you cannot see. And then I feel like, even back home, people see me as someone living the American dream, because this is what America is about. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you put the time, you put the work, you will get to where you will go. Or where you want to be. And sometimes when I look back, I'm like, it. I really took some time. And then as I was growing up, as the years went by, I remember this friend, two friends were talking, and then one of them said, "It's fine that you go to America," and then the people ask, "What is Sylvain doing?" And then he said that Sylvain is a bartender, and it made me laugh a little bit, because now at that time I understood American culture. I understood the American culture, that you have to put the time, you have to put the work, and you have to stay focused. So I was laughing, because at that time when I heard that comment, I was going through the management and development program with our company, and then I knew that if I keep working very hard, I will impress my managers, and I will get there. Now I think I went back to Cameroon in December, and some of my friends told me, Sylvain, sometimes we we hear about American success, and we think that is a dream, but knowing that you went there, and now you can, and then we can see it through you, we know that this is not just fake news or fake story.
Has anybody from Cameroon that you've grown up with, whether that's friends or family, have they joined you in America since you've been here because of the stories that you've told them and things that have happened to you since you've been here?
Uh, not people that I grew up with, but Cameroonians who are in our community here. Some of them saw my story, and then I have a good friend of mine who, as a matter of fact, called me today, and then he said, Sylvain, I see that you have moved a lot from servers to food and beverage director, and now you are the assistant GM. And then he's in food and beverage, and then he called me to ask me for advice. What can I do to get to your level? And then I found it a little bit funny, because those are people that I was playing with, and then we will meet at a lot of Cameroonian gatherings, and they never asked me that question, because they knew that I was a server, I was a bartender. But
Mhm.
this guy come and ask me, what can I do? It made me feel a little bit special. It made me feel special that I can have an impact on other people to know that in America everything is possible.
And I think that's especially true in the hotel industry specifically because I'm sure you realized when you came and you started working in hotels that a lot of the labor that is used in hotels is from people who maybe are immigrants from another country or people who don't speak very good English or
There you go.
all right, I'm so sorry guys. I'm
Okay.
so
As I
sorry.
said,
Yeah, my browser just completely shut down, but hopefully we're good for the rest of the interview, huh?
okay.
Now, um, so as we were saying, the hotel labor pool, I think this could be anywhere you go in the country. In Chicago, um, you have the same thing with the housekeeping, stewarding, food and beverage, any sort of line level labor, and especially back of house work is done by immigrants or people with very little English speaking
Yes.
capabilities. How do you feel, or I guess I should phrase it like this: do you feel that you now being a general manager, having come from that same um, the same circumstances that a lot of, and I would say the majority of the people in your hotel have come from, makes you a better leader? Because I'm sure, you know, the room attendant who's been there for 25 years has seen quite a few general managers and assistant general managers come to that property, most of which have probably looked like me and have sounded like me.
Yeah.
And you bring a different perspective because you've come from another country. You've come from arriving here without any English or any resources and have had to build yourself up from the ground up, just like the people in your housekeeping departments, in your stewarding, in your banquet departments. How's that relationship for you with your staff?
That one is a great question. Like, how would uh, the immigrants react to leaders that who sound like them? I mean, I think that it's just an asset to the leader because I took trainings in a hospitality industry in America. I understand how to lead as an uh, with the American system. So, but when I come and lead people from Africa or from a third world countries or even different countries, I am aware of where they come from, who they, who they are. When someone from Africa comes and tell me that my mom is very sick at home, and then I can relate it to the person because I can talk to the person and tell them that that's okay because if I'm here and then tell them that my mom is sick overseas, is a long distance, and then I can be worried. So I can relate it to all those stories, and it makes me a better leader. And then they feel more comfortable coming to me because they know that I understand them, and then I'm not new or stranger to their culture. And then I've seen it so far. We have a few people here from Zimbabwe, from Nigeria, and then even from Hispanic speaking country or Spanish speaking countries. So they feel comfortable coming and talk to him because I understand and then I can relate to what they are going through. So I mean, actually, I think that is just a great asset for me to even lead this hotel at the moment.
And has anybody come to you and said, I never have seen myself as anything more than a steward, and now you've inspired me to want to do greater things here in America? Does that conversation ever take place?
Uh, I haven't had it from Stuart, but when I was still food and beverage manager at this property, I had I I had supervisor from Europe, and now every time that we speak, she tells me that she sees me as a leader because she knows that she knows that her path can follow mine because I used to be a supervisor. She's a supervisor, and then now she works at a different in a different hotel now as a food and beverage manager. So then she tells me that she wants to be like me because she knows that it's possible. I mean, this is something that she can touch, and then it is tangible because she knows me. But I mean, this is the story that I have it. I mean, I have from her, but now sometimes what I do, I use my story to motivate the other supervisor that we have here. And then this morning I was talking to one of the food and beverage supervisor, and I told him, "You are food and beverage supervisor here now. I used to be food and beverage supervisor. Right now I am assistant general manager. So you can follow my path, and then if you can listen, I can get you there." And then I receive. I have a great, I had a great response from him. And then he told me, everything that you tell me to do, I will follow him. And then he been a food and beverage supervisor for 6 months, and I told him I used to be food and beverage supervisor for 6 months. So, and then I became food and beverage manager for 1 year, and then I became food and beverage director for 1 year, and then I was an opening food and beverage director for 1 year. Then that when I tell my stories to this a young supervisor, even if they're not from another country, so they can even be from America, they can be from a different race. They know that if this guy came from Cameroon, and then he comes and make it, and then he can tell his story. I motivate people with my story, and then I can tell you, I just started on Monday. I have had a great response from the staff here.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that it's so far so good at your new job. Um, Now, what do you think your biggest challenges that you face moving into your new position are going to be?
But my biggest challenge would be, I would say, to make people think differently, and then um, this is a new leader with a new style. So I don't know how people are going to react, but I know that where I've been so far, people reacted very well to my new style. So the challenge that I may have at the moment, I think that is just personal, which is trying to learn my new role while I'm leading the whole staff. And so far, I haven't had time to really do my training. Like people just feel so comfortable coming to me, and I have my personal training that I haven't been started yet. But uh, but I mean. But I'm telling you, but I do not tell them because I don't want to frustrate them. I still want them to feel like so they can come to me. And sometimes I stay up late to do, to even try to start the training. So far, since Monday, I've been working 14 to 16 hours because people feel so comfortable coming and talk to me. So actually, the challenge is personal at the moment. I cannot really I cannot pinpoint any challenge that I would see moving forward. But like I said, I don't know how people are going to react. But so far, they have reacted very well.
Now, I heard you saying something about how you wanted to change the way that people were thinking.
Oh,
Can you comment more on that?
you know, people are used to just follow the rules. So I gave a little bit an example to my staff yesterday, and one person came, and then the person had two pets, and then we charge for pet fees here, and then I observe a little bit from behind. They just told them, "I'm sorry, we charge you for pet fees." And then the person said, "How come they didn't charge me while I made the reservation. They didn't know how to respond. And then I told them that in order for you to assist the guest, you have to be educated to yourself. You have to educate to yourself. If someone tells you that I didn't see that there's a pet fee on the website, you go to the website yourself and educate yourself beforehand. So when the next guest come, you can show them where it is. If they say why you don't, why you can't you, so why you didn't charge me for the pet fee during the reservation? So you tell them that I mean, unfortunately, this fees cannot be charged. Cannot be charged to you during your reservation because at the last minute you can decide not to bring your pet, or you may decide to leave the pet somewhere else. When I say that I want them to think differently, is I want them to give a one-on-one customer service. It's like explain to the guests why you're saying things are being done a certain way and take time and so not just checking people and then they go. And then when the people come to the restaurant and then they don't like the food, put yourself in the guest shoes. Think for the guests and say, if I go to a restaurant and then I order a steak well done, it comes in medium, would I be happy? Because I had a meeting with the F&B department and then tell them that your job is to feed people. And then they have to leave your restaurant satisfied and happy. If they leave unhappy, you are failed. So I want you to think differently. It's like I have so I tell them that I love hospitality. I just love it. I just love hospitality business because it's never boring. You have different situations, and then you just have to know how to respond to every situation. So think differently. One person told me yesterday that I act like a politician because I try to talk people out of what they want to do. I said, no, just because guests like it when you take time to listen to them and you try to think with them and try to offer them some solution. And then those are rules that we have in hospitality, but people people don't take time to educate themselves because the scenarios are available to us, but we just don't educate ourselves. But when we educate ourselves, we are so successful. So that's why, for example, when you see the ranking of a lot of hotels, so Asian hotels are always leading because when you go over there, they understand customer service, and then here we understand customer service, but we tend to forget why we are there, why we are in the hospitality field. So it's not just a paycheck. It's basically like a science. I mean, you need to love hospitality to be in a hospitality business.
So what is, because you bring up a good point about the difference between like the Asian hotels and the hotels here in the United States of America. What would you say the big difference? I personally never stayed at a hotel in Asia, but
Yeah.
I do know that they do provide in general a better guest experience than say a hotel in the US. What do you think the big difference there is that we're missing here in the United States?
What we are missing here is, I told you that at the beginning that the same resources that they have in the Asian countries, we have them here too, but we just ignore them. And then, I never been to Asia, but I had some Asian friends here in the US, or people who even came and work here. So it's already in a culture that when someone is in front of you, you need to give them a little bit of respect. When a guest is in front of you, you need to find ways, ways to make this guest happy. And then this is what trying to bring to the hotel here. And this is what we like here because whenever there's an issue, we try we tend to be happy or give a better customer service experience to guests who are nice to us. That I mean, it is a given. But how do we react to guests who are not nice to us? Guests who is frustrated that I need. I don't know why you guys are charging for pet fees, or I really didn't like it, and guess it is frustrated, and how do we react to that? But here, what we do, we get on the defensive side and we try to argue with the guest. But instead of taking the situation and listen to the guest, sometimes even people are just venting, just listen, and then they just want someone to listen, and then they're fine with it. But here, what do? We just put some armor on, and so, and then we just try to protect ourselves and get on the defensive side, which is not customer service anymore, which is not hospitality, and then here we tend to forget why we are in the hospitality business. Over there, they understand why they're in the hospitality business, but here we tend to forget why we there. I mean, why we are here. We have the same resources that they have. Why do they use theirs and we don't use ours? I mean, we live. I mean, we live in a country where everything is at our disposal. So we can get up in the morning. We can do whatever we want to do. We can drive whatever cars we want to have. So we have everything to make even our life better. But now when we go to work, we don't want to use the resources to make sure that the guests are happy. So I think that this is just the big difference that they put. They put in practice what is taught to them, or they use their resources, and here we just don't use them, and we tend to argue with the guests, which is not the customer service. I mean, and then I'm not saying that we do that at our property here, but my goal is to make sure that it doesn't happen, and then to know that if it happens, this is how we will resolve the issue next time. I just love us. I just love hospitality. I can go on and on and on and on. I just love the hospitality.
You and me both, my friend. I love what you just said there, because we tend to forget all the time what is the reason why we're here, and what is the reason why, our guests are here. And I think it's important to remember that the guests are here for an infinite number of reasons, that we should be sensitive to all of those number of reasons simultaneously in order to provide the best guest experience possible for each and every person staying in the hotel. And I've noticed, and certainly mirrors a lot of what you're saying, is that the policies and procedures that are in place by hotels tend to be some of the biggest frustration points for guests when they come and stay.
Yes,
As the assistant general manager who has to balance the financials of the hotel, who has to balance the performance on all metrics, service and financials included, how do you balance the procedural side and the business side of hospitality with the fundamental pure foundation of genuine care, love, and understanding that hospitality is made of?
yeah. This is a great question, and we have heard it too many times that don't give the house away. Don't, but I can just let people get away without paying. But we tend to forget that those procedures and policies, yes, they are there for the guests, but the hotel lose money not on these procedures and policy. They lose money on the customer service. And then yes, you need to know where you are financially. Where your hotel is financially. Like for example, if you take your profit and loss statement, you need to know where you are month to date. You need to know where you are year to date. So, and then if you have a line, for example, that's a guest relations, and then you see that you are way below budget, and then you have a guest who comes and argue and say that I did not to drink about water in in my room, and then you have a front desk agent that no, he did. I need to charge him. it costs the hotel 30 cents, that bottle of water.
Right.
It is just us, and so we forget how much it costs us. So we just look at the retail price. So now you have a guest who is unhappy for 30 cents. The guest does not complain about the room. The guest did not say that I had a bad experience. The guest said, I did not drink that bottle of water. And then you have an agent that would say that housekeeping said that this guest drank that bottle of water. And now, but when you look at your financials, you are way below budget. Are we really going to get into an are we really going to make a guest unhappy for 30 cents when we have just got a rate of $250 from a guest, and then we're going to lose that guest, and we may lose another guest for 30 cents. So yes, it's true that we cannot give the house away, but 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 uh, when we focus, but if we focus on the customer service side, financials are going to come. And then sometimes in hotels, people who are not in charge of finances, they want to do the finances. So like you will see in a restaurant when a guest, a server said, no, we have to charge $5 extra for this. And then the kitchen said that no, we have to charge $7. And when their goal, their job is to give a good customer service. And then when the finances are a little bit off, we can go back to them. But so, to answer your question, it's true that we need to take off the finances, but sometimes hotels have lost money because of bad customer service, not because of the charges in the room. So not because of water that they didn't have. So if we focus on customer service, I mean, if we focus on the customer service side, finances will come. So let's fix what is broken first, or let's fix what your hotel. I mean, if you have a hotel that has a bad customer